Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at JASMYCoin. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. So before we go over the lower degree counts here, what we are talking about is two options here where we are looking for either the potential that we could be looking at this as a bigger A, B, and a C pattern. 1-to-1 is up here towards us at 1272. Within this case, we also need to be on the lookout for the potential of a bigger break to the upside where we could see price move up towards us 0.2545 for confirmation of this third wave if we're going to see this price start to trend to the upside. Now, as well as that, we need to be a little bit careful here because we do still have our potential for the corrective count, in which case what we were saying is that this could actually be another X wave here, and we could be looking for the potential of seeing this Z wave to the downside. Minimum requirement for this would be here towards this 00091 area, so we need to be on the lookout for this possibility that we could start to break down in a three-wave structure, looking for these lows. So within our bullish count, effectively what we need to do is stay above this level of this 271. If we stay above this red line here, then potentially we could still see continuation to the upside here, though really we can't come back down here and lose this low again. If we lose this low of the 317, it starts to become less likely that this count is in play because we would have been so close to this invalidation anyway, but invalidation only truly comes by crossing this 271. So within the previous video, what we were talking about is the possibility of seeing a break to the upside here. So what we would be looking for, if we are looking for another 5-wave move, this is what we want to see play out. We want to count this as our wave 1 over here, effectively looking for this as a wave 2, and then we want to see price look to push back to the upside here. So if we come in a bit closer, what we would be looking for here ideally is we want to see this support zone hold, this 390 to this 346. Now it is possible that within this count, we could still be within a bigger A, a B, and a C pattern. So this pattern in the white here, where we look at this whole move down as an A wave, this is our B wave to the upside, and we're looking for a 5-wave move to the downside. Now, typically speaking, when we see a move that actually looks to break the origin of this A wave here, what we look for is this 1236 to this 1618 level. So we'll be keeping an eye on this if this does look to extend to the downside. What we need to be cautious of, however, here is that there is potential that within this count, what we can do is just count this move from this high as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're looking for this as a 5th wave to the downside. Now, if this is an extension in the wave 1, what we can get sometimes is that this wave 5 will look to target out either this 0.618, which we've already gone past, or this 0.786. So we're kind of in between these two levels at the moment. Now, what I want to see is that, potentially we can argue 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 already completed, but until we actually start to break back above some of these highs, we need to be careful that this move can continue to extend to the downside and look something like this, where we get this as a bigger 5-wave structure, and then we start to get a series of 1s and 2s in here, which looks to break down in a bigger way. So typically speaking, we've crossed this 3rd wave low here, so it could be enough to actually complete. If this is the case, effectively what we need to see is price breaking back first above this 399, and then we need to see price get back above this area here of this 453 as well for a bit more confirmation. But until we actually cross this high, I'll just be cautious that this could still, even if this is completed as a 5-wave move here, we can still get 3 waves up and then see continuation down. So it's going to be very important to get back above this high. In my opinion, if we take this B wave high here, this would then confirm the idea of this being something like a flat correction here. And like I said, that bullish count stays alive. Now, it is also possible, however, instead of counting this as an A wave to the downside, this could just be our 3-wave move for the wave 2. And what we could see is that price could actually look to move to the upside. Now, within this case, what we need to see here is, we need more confirmation of this, because this move up potentially could be an impulse, but then we need to hold this low. If we do hold this low of this 0362, then potentially what we could have here is that this is A, this is B, and then this is a C wave to the downside, in which case what we'd then be looking for would be the potential that price could actually start to move back to the upside here. Now, we'd only get confirmation of this more bullish idea here by a move up past this 708. If we do see price just form something like this, and we push back up one more time here towards this 1-to-1 level, which would be this 00548, then, this wouldn't be enough to confirm this. and it is possible that it could be another 5-wave move and it becomes 1 2 1 2, something like this, and then we see that third wave actually kick into gear. But we need to be very careful that until we actually start breaking these highs, there is always this possibility of that extension directly to the downside. Now, another way that we were discussing this structure was saying that this could actually be a bigger ABC pattern here. And what we were saying is that because we had come up towards this area here of the 786, we need to be careful, because the other way of looking at this move is that this is ABC, and what we're looking for is this B wave to the downside. Now, typically speaking, our B wave will look to find support here between this 50% and this 786. It is always possible, however, when we get B waves, that we could see something along these lines where we get a move down here, we see another 3-wave move up, and then we see another move down, and this becomes a bigger flat correction, something like this. So we need to be on the lookout for that idea as well. But if we do continue to hold this support box, we do still have the potential to either see this move push up here in 3 waves, if we are counting this rather in this way where this is just ABC. But like I said, we need to be careful, because if we have this and we find support above this low, this can actually turn into a 5-wave move to the upside if we do move up high enough. So what I'm looking for here is the same sort of idea of having a pushback to the upside here in a C wave. It is, however, possible that this move could also complete here, and we could be looking for that downside to come into play. So we need to be on the lookout for that potential. You know, we could see this look to break out, but we need to see that confirmation first. Now, within the bearish scenario here, what we were saying is that we could also see something along these lines where this actually becomes 1 2, and we're looking for a bigger third wave to the downside. So this is our more bearish count here, and until we take these highs, we need to be careful of this idea of this extension down, where effectively what we could be setting up here is a series of 1s and 2s. Now, the reason I don't like this count so much anymore is because this wave 2 over here would be substantially bigger than the previous one over here. So this is making it less likely to be a 1 2 1 2 like this. But if we do see price push down towards us 226 and we fail to break back above this invalidation point of this 511, what we could start to see is price could start to break down in a bigger way here, looking for this 5-wave structure to the downside. Now, if we are looking at something like this, where this is a 1 2 1 2 here, effectively what we'd want to see here is 5-wave structure developing to the downside. So like I said, even if we have a look at this move down here, and what we say is that this is 1 2 3 4 and 5, and then we see a bigger 3-wave move to the upside, until we actually take this high, we need to be very cautious. Now, I'm just going to take this off of our current levels here. What this would be is potential B wave rejection area here between this 466 and this 431. So until we actually start to break back above this 466, we'd have to be very careful that any kind of 3-wave moves to the upside could then align with having that continuation to the downside one more time, whether this is an A, a B, and a C, or alternatively we see this become 1 2 and then we see that bigger third wave, which would align with the idea of seeing something more substantial to the downside, where we see this is 1 2, then we get a bigger third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave, looking to push us down towards this 226 area. So this is why I'm saying, you know, we need to see how price is reacting here. There is still that bullish count available if we do continue to hold this low of the 317, but if we start to lose that level, we could be looking for a more substantial drop to the downside. So coming in here and having a look at this slightly different, what we could also have here is, because we can potentially count this 1 2 3 4 and then 5, or alternatively what we could argue is this is 1 2, this is another 1 2 here, and this third wave is actually looking to extend out directly. Now, if we do look to extend out directly here, what I would be looking out for would be the potential that within this structure we have a series of 1s and 2s. So this would be 1 2 1 2 1 2 here, and then we see price actually start to break down in a bigger way, where we get a fourth and a fifth, and what we'd be looking for this to confirm is actually to see a deeper move here towards this 317 within this instance. So within the other count, effectively what we'd be saying is that this would be our completed move. We'd see a bigger 3-wave move up. If we are looking at this idea, this would be a direct break to the downside, and invalidation of this comes by crossing back above this 399. So in the more shorter time frame here, what we need to be careful of is that if price actually fails to take these highs that we have in here, price could then start to just accelerate to the downside, where this becomes another 1 2 here, and then we actually push down for a third wave. Now what we'd be looking for, given our current structure here, if this is going to develop into a third wave here, would be this 365 area. And so if we see price do something like this, 1 2 3 down to this level, we get a fourth and a fifth. This would align with the idea that this would all become a third wave, we get a fourth wave and a fifth wave down, and then we'd still have an additional fourth and a fifth wave to the downside in that manner. So going to be on the lookout for this potential that if we do see price starting to push down past this 365, this could be the first indication here that we are actually getting some extension to the downside, which is going to look to push us down into some of these lower zones. So until we actually break back above these highs, we need to be careful that we aren't breaking down in this way. But what we could have here is that, this could still be a corrective move where this is our intermediate point, and we still see just another move down here, failing to hit this 317, and then seeing this just as that bigger corrective idea, like I said, where what we have is effectively this is our A wave, this is our B wave, and then we're looking to push to the upside still. So this is what I'm looking at currently. We need to see how we react here, but really until we start to break back above these highs, the bearish scenario is seeming more likely. If we do start to see price moving up here, where this becomes a series of ones and twos, we get a third, fourth, and a fifth, another fourth and a fifth, something like this, a 5-wave move back up into some of these highs. What we'd need to then see for more confirmation that we're going to see that continuation up would be a 3-wave move down, looking to protect these lows. This is going to become important now if we are looking for a turnaround from this point. Having a look at the daily CPR lines, what we can see is that we are currently holding our S1 line here. Now we do have potential resistance above us at these central CPRs at this 387 to this 385 if we do see price look to push back up here in 3 waves. If we do see price continue to the downside, other targets we have for today is this 372, we have this 364 and this 358 as potential downside targets. Now, if we do see price actually get a reversal to the upside and we get back above these central lines here, what we could see is price could look to actually challenge this 392, the previous daily high here of this 394. And if we do manage to move up this high, then other targets to the upside for today would be this 400, this 406, and this 414 as potential upside targets for today. Now we're going to come over here and have a look at the weekly pivots. What we can see is that we're currently below our central lines here, and we did print a higher CPR, but we've actually rejected off the bottom end of this. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. If we see price continuing to hold this level and we start to see a reversal back up, I would be interested to see whether we find resistance at this 400, this 414, and this 429. If we do encounter resistance here, or if we just don't come back up to those levels, other targets for this week is this area here of this 334. We have this 282 and this lower area here of this 199 as possible support below us where we could see an interaction with. If we do manage to flip this area back into support, what we could then see throughout the rest of this week is the potential to test this 466. We have this 546 and this 599 as potential upside targets. Now, if we come over here and have a look at the monthly CPR lines, what we can see is that we currently have an engulfing CPR printed here. What this means is that the previous month CPR is actually sitting within this CPR range. Now, typically speaking, what this means is we're going to see some ranging taking place, but we'll have to see, because sometimes when these are unchanged like this, what this can mean is that we'll actually see a break. Now, once again, if we stay below these levels, which would be this 402, this 415, and this 427, potentially what we can see is price could get gravitated towards this S1 line. If that fails to hold, other targets to the downside for this month would be this 282 and this level here of this 201. Now, if we are looking at potential upside targets here, and we do manage to get back above these lines, what we could then see is a potential to come back and retest this 469. We have this 549 and this area here of the 600 as potential upside targets for this month. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It is free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.